Hey there guys, today's video is going to be on the travel trailer kitchen area, and I'm happy to say that this is going to be the last major interior construction project until we take this trailer camping. So it's pretty exciting, and it represents a huge milestone in this year-long journey that I've taken to build this thing. So anyway, let me show you how I put it together, and then as like all the rest of the videos in this series, I'll talk about the next steps that are to come, which is I think like 2 or 3 things, and then you'll probably see some videos of it on camping trips. Okay, so here is the base framing for the lower kitchen cabinet. I've been working on this for the past week and a half or so as I've had time, so I didn't really film any of the process of putting this together, but I can assure you, just like everything else in the travel trailer project, I just used pocket holes, and it is pretty simple construction. The general layout of this cabinet is going to be kind of like this. I've added some framing on the sides there for a bank of drawers on this side of the cabinet, with a lower cabinet door for kind of heavy items like pots and pans. And then over here I'm planning on having the sink in that area, and then underneath the sink I'll have 2 cabinet doors that flip open like that, and maybe a little cubby underneath the sink. I'm not exactly sure about that. And then right there is a little access for a foot pump. I'm currently working on the face framing, so let me finish that up and then I'll show you how that's going to look going against this. And here's the face framing all finished up. I made this out of 1x3s that I ripped down to a width of just over 2 inches, and I assembled it with pocket holes just like everything else. The purpose of this face framing is to kind of dress up the front of the cabinet, as well as close in the gaps in the areas where the drawer fronts will go, as well as the cabinet doors. So it just gives a nice clean appearance. So right now I'm going to mount it to the front of the cabinet, and then I'm going to get started on the drawer fronts and doors. Now that the face framing on the main cabinet is done, I'm starting to work on the framing for the drawer fronts and the cabinet doors, and here is what I have so far. Again, I'm using pocket holes and the same 1x3s that I have ripped to about 2 inches wide, and so far I think it's looking pretty good. I'm building these exactly the same way that I built all the rest of the cabinet doors in the trailer, so I'll probably show a couple of clips on how I did that. But I will fill the insides with some plywood once I router out a little section in the back to be able to accept it. And then I will be adding hinges on this one and these 2 doors, and then these will be attached to drawers that will eventually be on slides in that area. And here are some clips on just how I built the cabinet doors and drawer fronts for all of the cabinets in this trailer. These clips are from the first trailer cabinets video, but they are all built in the same manner. I just used pocket holes to make frames, and then I routed out a channel for a piece of plywood to sit in the back. And then I added some hidden hinges with this Craig jig and gave them some paint. And that's pretty much how I built them. Oh, yes, I know. So I've got the frame sanded and all of the holes are filled and it's pretty much ready for paint. But I did want to show you my idea for this little cubby up here. I just built kind of like a little trough setup, and this will go on the back right here, and it'll be kind of like a little reach-in cubby for I don't know, just little kitchen items that can be stuck in there and taken out pretty easy. And I also did want to point out that I did have to make some notches here where the drawers will go. My measurements were a little bit off, but I just notched those out so the drawer slides can come out with the drawers. Alright guys, it's finally done, and now I'm going to try to give you a walk around and a tour of the various aspects of the kitchenette, what everything's function is going to be, and I'll try to cover some of the things that I didn't cover in the build portion. And I will start up at the top with the cabinets located above the kitchenette. I built these cabinets in the exact same way that I built all of the other upper cabinets, just pocket holes, 2x2s, and face framing. One side of these cabinets will eventually have some sort of divider so that I can have kind of like a little shelf in there for smaller items, and then the other side will be kept full height. If I remember right, it is about 15.5 inches tall and about 10.5 inches deep. Moving on down to the backsplash. This is a stainless steel backsplash, and it is composed of some scraps that I got from Industrial Metal Supply. So you'll see on one side there's a seam, and the reason for that seam is because I didn't want to spend $100 and some on the full sheet of stainless steel. So I just got a 2x4 scrap and then a little tiny scrap that I just added on the side, and it cost me about 15 bucks. It's all being held in place with 1 inch by 1 inch aluminum angle, and I think it looks pretty good. You saw how I built the countertop. It is just 1/2 inch plywood laminated against 1x3s to give it some structure, and then I just put a stainless steel sink from Amazon in it, and overall I'm really happy with the way it looks. Right below the sink is that little trough that I mentioned before, and that will just be used to hold various little items like, you know, maybe salt and pepper shakers, different things like that. The cabinet below that will be where the freshwater and the gray water tank will be. I'm not doing like an undermount gray water tank. It's just going to be a little bucket that I can take out, pour over a fire. And then all of the fresh water will be supplied with a foot pump, which is the purpose of that little cutout notch. I don't have it attached right now because I have not ordered the line that I need to connect from the pump to the freshwater tank to go up to the sink, but I'll probably end up showing that in a later video. The drawers, I sized the drawers to fit my Coleman Triton stove, so that's why they're kind of big, but obviously they'll hold various items like silverware, plates, different things like that. And then one of the drawers will be dedicated to hold the Coleman stove. And then the little flip out door at the bottom is going to be for heavy like pots and pans, so they can sit directly on the floor or in a little tub on the floor. That way there won't be a weight issue. And then you'll also notice that there is plenty of room to open all the cabinet doors, as well as have the Dometic cooler. This is the CFX 65W, and it can slide out and be easily accessed while we're standing in front of the kitchen counter. So I think that is pretty much it. Alright, so that is going to do it for the kitchenette or kitchen area, whatever you want to call it. I'm pretty pleased with the way it turned out, but I guess that's because I'm the one who built it, and if it was turning out differently, then I probably would have made some changes. But more importantly, my wife and daughter are pretty pleased with it. We've even been having some lunches out there, and I guess more or less been doing some play camping. So it's just exciting to be getting really, really close to using it. But I'm sure some of you are wondering a little bit about the water system that I'm going to be putting in there, the water pump and stuff like that, since I really didn't show it in a functional mode. I just showed the pump and kind of talked about where things would be. I've done that on a few aspects of this build where I was just kind of making the video, and you know, the 90% portion of the video was done, and some of the details I just didn't really feel like covering. But I'm thinking I might do a video later on and title it something like Travel Trailer Obscurities or something like that, and I'll talk about some of the detail things that I might not have talked about. So those of you who have enjoyed this project, that might be a good video if you're really wanting to dig into the fine details. Other people, it might be a whole lot of boringness. I know that's not a word. But anyway, what is to come for the next couple of videos in this project, which is pretty much going to culminate this project before the camping trip. That is going to be specifically the next video. I'm pretty confident that I'm going to be making the trailer coupler lock, basically a way to keep the trailer from getting stolen. And then after that, I will finish up the 12-volt wiring. I have some of it started, and I just haven't taken any video of it. And all of the 12-volt appliances that will be in the trailer. And then once I get all that hooked up and I guess tied together in the battery box area, I'll hook it up to a battery and then add some solar panels on the top. And then at that point, I'm going to say it's going to be camping ready, and hopefully you'll start seeing these videos on the trailer being done, I don't know, out in the desert or up in the mountains. So as always, guys, I really appreciate you guys watching. I hope this was interesting. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, and as always, you can check me out on Instagram. And anyway, I did want to make mention, after this trailer is going to be or getting close to done or done over the next month or month and a half, I'm finally going to be able to get into more of my rainwater harvesting projects and some other things that I've just been wanting to do. So as always, I will see you guys next time.